Hey, welcome back to The Edge. How do you create content that your audience wants? I mean, the likes, the comments, the shares, maybe the lack of likes and comments and shares. That's a focus group that you can actually dial into and learn from each and every post. The amount of total brand conversation, these are all data points in your focus group, and it shows you how your audience is perceiving your brand. Well, we're talking to someone that is using that regularly to guide her content and to stay true to her mission. She just spoke at Digital Now in Orlando, and we're talking to the Stacey Jaffe, the Vice President of Digital Content and Channels for Teach for America, today on The Edge.
Your weekly digital marketing trends with industry trend-setting guests. You're listening and watching Edge of the Web. Hear and see more at edgeofthewebradio.com. Now, alongside Tom Broadbeck, here's your host, Aaron Sparks.
All right, hey, we're broadcasting from Indianapolis Edge Media Studios, located in downtown Indianapolis. Thanks for joining. Every week, we bring you the latest trends in digital marketing and marketing influencers. We reach out and find the best of the best, cream of the crop, to be able to share what's going on inside of digital marketing, what's real, what's not, and debunk some of the myths out there, but show you what tactics are really winning inside of digital marketing. Check out our recent shows at edgeofthewebradio.com. We're powered by Site Strategics. Your digital marketing pioneers specializing in Agile marketing methodology. And if you're wondering what that is, and Tom, you never wonder what that is, right?
Nope.
You know it verbatim.
Verbatim. Yep. It's like stretching and stuff, right? Flexible.
No, that's not Agile. So what we're talking about,
like quickness, like I'm sprinting.
You're getting closer.
Okay.
You're getting closer. Maybe more.
You used the word sprint.
You did, yeah. We also work in sprints. Wow. See, you're just expounding on Site Strategics metaphors and references there. I appreciate it. At least he's indoctrinated correctly. So if you wonder what we're talking about, and sometimes we absolutely do, just like now, go check out sitestrategics.com and actually find out how we do what we do. We focus on Agile methodology, which is nimble marketing and results-based marketing. So we are looking at month to month to month, what's working, and we're testing our hypothesis. We're like some mad scientists in the digital marketing realm, you know?
A regular Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or
no, that's probably not the best analogy.
No,
I'm just thinking.
I'll come up with a different one.
All right, thank you. Stew on that for a little bit.
Dr. Strangelove.
Huh?
Dr. Strangelove.
I love that reference.
Okay.
That is awesome. Yes, exactly. We are Slim Pickens riding a rocket all the way down. If you ever, that's like dating me. That's Peter Sellers right there. Anyway, check out all the information at sitestrategics.com and check us out on your favorite podcast platform. We're on iTunes, obviously. We're on Google Play, Stitcher, iHeart, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Podbean, Spreaker, Acast, Player FM. Anything else recently?
Nope, that's it. You named them all. Whole gamut.
That's not the whole gamut.
I mean, there's podcatchers and everything out there, but there's so many of those that it's tough to name. Overcast is a popular one that we get a lot of listens off of. But
yep. And if we're not where you are, let us know, and we'll certainly get the show to you. So this segment is actually brought to you by SEMrush, the world's leading competitive intelligence and keyword research tool, trusted by over 1 million online marketers every day to give them an edge. See, you did it every time.
Every time.
Over the competition. If you want to see exactly where your competitors are actually advertising online, then head on over to semrush.com/edge of the web to get your 14-day free trial. You know what? I would like to introduce a few people here. This is Tom Broadbeck, Digital Media Director of Edge Media Studios, and we have the Stacey Jaffe, Vice President of Digital Content and Channels for Teach for America. Stacey, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me today. I'm excited to be with you, too.
Oh, you're more than welcome. We're excited, too. And sorry for the gratuitous promotion at the beginning of the show, but, hey, we got to make some money, right?
It's okay.
Fantastic. Well, Stacey, we wanted to bring you on because you've been doing a lot of presentations here recently inside digital marketing, and Teach for America is an incredible organization, and we really wanted to get you on and be able to speak to a lot of really cool digital marketing tactics that you're doing. But first, we wanted to invite you on to explore the news with us. You game for that?
Totally game. Let's dig in.
Fantastic. All right. So let's take you through the latest digital marketing news.
I was very excited to start my reportings.
This week's trending topics.
That was it? That's what I got?
That's what you get.
Okay, fine.
Bo rat.
All right. That's what I get. All right. So Mashable. Facebook is going to do something about those terrible ads on your website. So, Tom, what is this about?
So Facebook has a new algorithm. I'll just read here from the article. It says Facebook announced on Wednesday that the company will start using artificial intelligence to identify links to websites that have deceptive or malicious ads and then show those posts to fewer users. Changes to Facebook's newsfeed have a major impact on the digital media industry due to the social network's massive audience. Facebook has tweaked the algorithm plenty of times before to favor high-quality content.
Okay.
But Wednesday's announcement appears to be the first time Facebook has told publishers that its ads are also part of the equation. And I find it quite ironic that I found this article from Mashable, because their ads are ridiculous.
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
It's impossible to navigate their website without getting bombarded with ads.
I mean, literally, you can count like 16 ads on any given page.
I have half my screen is full with a drop-down ad that I can't close out of. And then I scroll down, then a video automatically plays, and there's 15 sidebar ads. And then, we've got those crappy sponsored links ads there at the end. But, yeah, so apparently just don't do what Mashable does, and you should be fine.
Okay.
Even though they wrote this article.
Stacey, you're deep inside Facebook ad technology and testing. Okay, I got to tee it up to you. What do you think about what they're saying here?
I think it's awesome. I think it's such a smart move.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of the ways in which they're probably addressing the fake news problem that they're getting hit with.
Right.
And I think it's brilliant. And to your point about Mashable, I think we should all take note and see if we start seeing massive changes on Mashable's site in terms of what their ad layout starts looking like and how we click through it. It's like we might. Yeah, I think it's a brilliant move on Facebook's part. I also think if you're Facebook and looking at it from Facebook's point of view,
right.
If you're a Facebook shareholder, you like it a lot because it will keep people on Facebook's site a lot longer as well. You're not clicking off to find terrible content.
That's true.
It's about annoyance factor, right? And they're trying to.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to the old pop-up ads and the pop-under ads back, a decade ago. Why are we still abusing our users like this? You've got to understand that dissonance that you're creating with all these ads, all of these different spaces where you've got incongruity of design, and I mean it's just annoying. It's noise, and consumers are going to respond much more clearly if you have a style guide, so to speak, for the ads that are actually on your website, and say, you know what, it has to adhere to this because we don't want to piss off our users. My gosh, what an incredible click-through rate improvement that you're going to have there. Just taking care of your user experience, right?
Absolutely. You know what else is interesting? I was wondering and thinking about this. If this hasn't been Facebook's algorithm all along, and this is the first time they announced it,
right?
Yeah.
You kind of have to wonder if they've always been going for high quality content and putting that to the top of the newsfeed. If the low quality ads just have, we've all known that low quality ads get served less infrequently, but get served less frequently. So high quality ads get served more frequently. It seems to me this is the first time they've just loudly announced that fact. If you've looked at your publishing. It seems to me this is more of a marketing and communications win than it is a big algorithm update.
And I think they're just kind of insisting on you clean up your act, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It very much could be that they were pursuing that all along. However, I do got to say that Facebook has been kind of abusing the ad space, especially the instant messenger ads that were in there. or at least
Yeah.
that was a short run there. That was way too invasive, and I'm glad they pulled back on that. At least I haven't seen any ads recently.
Yeah, I've got another article here from Marketing Land that you don't need to worry about pulling up here, Jim. But just they say, talking further about this, says the update will apply to ads running across Facebook, Instagram, and Facebook's audience network, ad network, and to organic posts on Facebook. It will not yet apply to organic posts on Instagram. This says that may have to do with the fact that only approved accounts can attach links to organic posts on Instagram's verified profiles to stories and approved retail-related brands for non-story posts. So ads and organic posts are going to be affected for Instagram and Facebook.
Oh, my
except
gosh.
for the organic on Instagram, because you can't add a link. But
yeah, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Well, from Market Watch, this is from Therese Pletty. Yelp shares plummet 19% as advertisers revolt. Check this out. Yelp said Tuesday it saw a wave of local advertiser departures in January and February, and shares plummeted a shocking 28% as the online reviews site again lowered its full-year outlook. The stock was down 19% on Wednesday, while 2017 was once seen as the year Yelp reached $1 billion in annual revenue. It now looks that even $900 million will be very hard to reach. That's a big drop. What do you think? What do you think about just the Yelp space and what's happening there?
yeah, we haven't really messed with Yelp ads much in our agency, so we haven't really much experience with it. But I mean, just from a user, it doesn't look like there's a lot of opportunities to have ads besides when somebody's searching.
Right.
So there's like one or two there, but I'd like to see maybe more options, more places that a Yelp ad can be placed within their app or on their website.
There's not much available for the advertiser.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just if we were to search Italian restaurants in Indianapolis, sure you'll see one or two there within the search results, but maybe like on the homepage or within individual listings that you can have other advertisements as well. But yeah.
They also have some additional worries beyond a declining share price. Yelp could have a major worry already on Tuesday. Holzer and Holzer LLC, a law firm in Atlanta which specializes in shareholder litigation, said it was investigating Yelp's statements about its outlook. So it's not only that advertisers are jumping off, but they're also looking at, from a shareholder standpoint, are those outlooks fictitious? Or, say that loosely, obviously. But, I mean, okay, you got some bigger problems there. Stacey, what do you think about Yelp?
Yeah, Teach for America doesn't really play in the Yelp space. From an advertiser point of view, I don't really have much experience there either. From a user point of view, I think Yelp should hire Tom to suggest some new places for some advertising. I think he was spot on there.
Yeah.
I think you could add some new geolocating features for some ads, perhaps.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they could really get in the market there. Like, you're near this great restaurant. Yeah, when I was reading that article, it just really, and they were mentioning the local competition on Google and Facebook. It was drawing to mind that New York Times article from about a month ago about are Google and Facebook having a monopoly, and can anybody really compete with the results you can get there? So it's interesting to see, even though Yelp is its own app in its own space, the comparisons drawn to Google and Facebook, and are people really putting dollars elsewhere, even in a separate space?
Well, we're seeing ad space more and more happening inside of the Google Maps space as well.
Yeah.
There was another article out that we were looking at. So Google's doubling down in the mobile advertising inside of the maps and location and local marketing. I mean, it's they know what they're doing, and they're pulling those shares away from Yelp. Might as well be able to see the reviews and be able to see those ads in a clean screen of your Google search.
And we had our local Yelp representative on one of our other podcasts, the Edge of Indie show, that we do here on Wednesdays, and we've had a couple restaurants in on the show too, and they're very heavily involved in Yelp marketing and everything, and they rave about it. So there's a lot of good sides to it too, and they say a lot of the people that come into the restaurant and they find them are Yelp are not from your locale. They're traveling to the town and wanting to find something new, which is exactly the purpose of Yelp. So there's definitely some some opportunities there for Yelp to boost up their ads, I think.
I've been hearing a lot about ads and as well as local, as well as voice search optimization, especially for the voice assistive devices, because there's a whole nother ad space and a whole nother competition on what's going to be the best result from these voice applications. And this is a segue into the other article. Amazon controls 70% of the digital assisted device market. This is from Marketing Land. Greg Sterling over there at Marketing Land. Now, Stacey, do you have a Amazon Echo?
I don't, but I feel so behind the times. I'm such a late adopter on this one. I'm so amazed though when you're at somebody else's house and they mention Alexa like she's another member of the family. So
the kids wanted to.
It happens everywhere.
I know.
Yeah.
My kids just said, "Hey, we should have named our dog Alexa."
It get mighty confusing though when you need Alexa to add milk to the grocery list.
This is how abused I get at home. Literally, they wanted to do this I hooked Alexa to a light. Actually, to Christmas lights, and that was just a mess because it was like a strobe effect. The kids were just screaming Alexa out, turn lights on, turn lights off. Anyway, according to new analysis and forecast from eMarketer, Amazon owns 70% of the voice-enabled speaker market. The firm says that there are more than 75 million people in the U.S. Stacey's not one of them, who will use one of these standalone devices at least monthly in 2017. Did you see what they just released? Well, actually, it's a pre-order. Yeah,
I saw it yesterday.
It's the new Echo, which has a screen on it. Okay. So there's
is that the little it's like it looks like a little triangle prism.
Yeah. And it's got a full on screen which you can do FaceTime to another device. Oh. Right, but you also get all of the lyrics of all the songs you're listening to, and
there you go.
It's kind of weird.
What's your prediction on that when you saw that posted?
You know what? I was looking at that going, okay, that's cool, but wait, my phone does this, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's like, are you literally reinventing and carving out a space? I think it's an overreach. I really do think so. I don't know. I'm sure we'll have to test one out here. But I mean, it is really weird that they went to this because I mean, are you actually going to have a cell phone carrier on that device? Probably not. You're just going to be using the Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just don't know where they're completely going on that, except for maybe karaoke.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, reading the eMarketer article that was actually written that Marketing references, they said that the 35.6 million Americans will use a voice-activated assistant device at least once a month, and that's over 128% increase over last year. So it's growing like crazy. And don't you have both of them in your office? Have I heard you talk to both?
Stop it.
Okay.
Stop it.
We share walls, and I hear him talk to Google sometimes, and sometimes Alexa. I'm like, yeah, both of them now?
Yeah. You are ratting me out, Tom.
But one thing, the one thing the Google Home has an advantage over, I think, over the Echo is Google's got a huge Android market, right?
Absolutely,
and I think that's a huge advantage for them. So we'll see how long this 70% lasts, but definitely I haven't used the Alexa besides telling it to stop playing the music when you walk out of your office, go to a meeting.
You're literally yelling at my office.
Wasn't there research though about Google being hard to say and Alexa being easy to say, and that will keep the lead for Amazon ahead of it? Yeah, that was actually fascinating the way the linguistics play into that.
But Google's actually training their own consumers on OK Google at the smartphone level. So for the speaker device, they're already conditioning their consumers.
Yeah. Google's had some nice updates here. They've had multi-users. So my wife and I now can ask it each individual things. We can share shopping lists. We use it a lot for shopping lists. And so if I go to the store and she's staying back with the baby and it's like, oh, I forgot to add milk to the grocery list, she could tell it and it'll automatically update on my phone. So there's some neat stuff I like with the Google Home. I'm not sure if that Alexa has that, but it will be interesting to see. I think there's a lot of cool stuff that they could come up with. So We'll see.
I think we're going to have to migrate the Google Home into your office just so you don't rat me out anymore. Okay, well, that's the news. Hey, speaking of news, if you want to join our newsletter, and we're sending out nuggets of gold each and every week, not real nuggets of gold. It's very newsworthy news on our newsletter. Join to the number 22828, the word Edge Talk, and you can join right there or subscribe right there at edgeofthewebradio.com. You can join that, and Tom's doing a great newsletter. It's showing who we're going to be interviewing, who we did interview, as well as some great inside tips that we're talking about inside of digital marketing. So,
and plus, since we broadcast live now, I send out 30 minutes before we go live. I send out an email reminding you to join us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live for the show.
Fantastic.
So,
which we really,
sign up.
We really appreciate that. So sign up and sign up often, right?
That's right. All your emails, all the emails,
all the emails, even people that you want to actually receive this. I'm sure they would be having no problem if you sign them up on their behalf. Just saying. Okay, hey, follow up all the featured trending topics over at Edge of the Web Radio. Now let's deep dive with this week's featured guest.
Now it's time for our Edge of the Web featured interview with Stacey Jaffe, Vice President of Digital Content and Channels at Teach for America.
Stacey, you have the deep voice guy introducing you now, and you need to use that like some background music as you walk into a room now.
The next time I speak at a conference, I'm going to ask if they can use that as my introduction. Rather than like the odd fact
you are welcome to use it. Welcome to use it. Well, Stacey, thanks so much for diving into the news with us. Stacey, just to set up the entire experience here for all of our users and watchers right now, as well as all of our audience on podcast. Stacey's the Vice President of Digital Content and Channels for Teach for America out of the New York City area. Stacey, tell us about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me today.
You're welcome.
I am the Vice President of Digital Content and Channels at Teach for America. Mm-hmm. Teach for America is a nonprofit where we rally the next generation of leaders to commit for teaching for 2 years in a low-income area in 53 regions across the country. We're in both urban and rural areas. And these leaders share the cataclysmic experience of teaching for 2 years in a low-income classroom. And as you can imagine, this really reshapes your heart, and it reshapes the way in which you view the world.
Absolutely.
And yeah, of course, right? You will be forever changed by this experience. And after 2 years, our alumni go on to work in a variety of fields and a variety of professions to eliminate educational inequity from all sides, which is the mission of Teach for America, which I just realized I forgot to say. But Teach for America exists to fight to eliminate educational inequity, which is what I get out of bed to do all day, every day.
Oh, fantastic.
And the way in which we do that is we enlist leaders to serve in classrooms around the country.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was so excited I jumped right into the middle of it and didn't start at the beginning. So our alumni go on to continue this fight. Some go on to be lawyers, some go on to be doctors, some work in public policy, some remain in the classroom, some become principals, some become school administrators, but because of this experience, it shapes them and it keeps them fighting. And it is my job at Teach for America to help our continually engaged community connect with one another, rally together, and continue their fight on this systematic issue. And as well, the other part is that I rally the next generation to join us, and I work on recruitment. And in doing that, I oversee a big team of digital enthusiasts. So we span web products, social media, email marketing, paid ads, and digital analytics.
Well, that's a mountain of a task right there. That really is.
I mean, we have a good time. We get a little nerdy with it, but
yes,
yeah, right.
Absolutely.
You gotta enjoy it.
Well, you're an evangelist in your space, and you're also teaching others to be evangelists for a very worthy cause. and there's so many people inside social media that try to find something that they can actually lift, and you have an organization in which it's right there. I mean, being able to connect with people that need education. On top of that, connect with people that need to be able to teach into these spaces. There's so much gratification out of being able to help in these underprivileged environments. But you're also teaching them of how to broadcast, right, at the same time, and you're empowering them to be able to lift up the brand of Teach for America, right?
Yes, I mean, I would say that absolutely. I think that all of our alumni are looking to make an impact, and they're looking to use their leadership skills to impact the social, political, and economic future of this country. And I think that our digital team, serves Teach for America as a whole. And I think that in connecting them virtually, we are giving them space to, continue their leadership abilities elsewhere.
Got it. That's awesome. So you actually have the ability to plant some seeds regularly, and to kind of educate in the digital marketing space. Some people that maybe never experienced it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, that is fantastic. So how'd you get your job? Got to ask.
Oh, this is one of my favorite stories. So, I was working at Nickelodeon, and I was working to utilize audience insights to create content. I was working on the television side of the house.
Yeah.
And you can imagine, though, that is incredibly related to exactly how you would use insights in digital media. You use all of your data to create content.
All the data.
And absolutely. And I was doing a lot of volunteer work on the side for the summer camp. I was on the board of a summer camp, and doing a ton of work in social media and winning some awards for the work that I was doing. And I was looking to find a job with a lot of meaning attached to it, very similar probably to people who applied to the core.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the job for Teach for America on LinkedIn. And I read the job description and realized I had all the experience required for it, but that if you looked at my resume, I would look like a very atypical candidate because my skills were very dispersed. So the job description said you report into the Senior Managing Director of Digital Engagement. So I went to the LinkedIn search bar and typed in Senior Managing Director of Digital Engagement, Teach for America, and a name popped up. And I paid for a LinkedIn Prime membership, and I sent her an email explaining why I wanted to work for Teach for America and why I thought I was the perfect candidate with the perfect experience despite having an atypical resume. And I asked her if she would give my cover letter and resume an extra look.
Okay.
And the next morning I got an email from the talent team at Teach for America that they would like to interview me. And it turned out she had in fact given my resume and cover letter. She had gone and pulled it and given it an extra look because of my LinkedIn email.
Cool.
And and I got pulled in, and that is how I got the job. So I basically made an argument that my volunteer experience combined with my data and insights experience from Nickelodeon made me the perfect candidate. So I came into Teach for America as the director of social media, climbed up through the paid ad space, and am now the vice president.
Oh, that's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just in that space alone, I mean, it pays to be unique. It pays to take a little bit extra time with your resume submission. And just as a side note, I mean, there's so many resumes that we get, and a lot of times they're just garbage. They haven't paid attention to the impression that somebody who's hiring will get. You've got to call attention to yourself very, very quickly, right, Stacey?
Absolutely. I also think it pays to take time to look at the job description and make sure your resume aligns to the job description.
Yeah.
I would encourage everyone applying for a job to maybe rewrite your resume to align to that job. Keep it truthful, but are you showing that the skills you have match the skills they're hiring for?
Got it. Well, you're absolutely right. Well, Stacey, you have 10 years of experience utilizing audience insights to create content for digital channels and television simultaneously, the needs of the audience and be able to garner results. You've also been a sought-after speaker on analytics, social media, social listening, and paid ads. You also volunteer at URJ Camp George, where you won the Harold Grinspoon Impact on Technology Award. Fantastic. I mean, this
Thank you.
absolutely. So, I mean, it's awesome to hear about that level of impact, and you do actually come across a lot of social media and digital marketers that haven't invested themselves into these spaces, and it's almost that that tepid group of we will even use quotes professionals that think they're in that space, right? But I mean, you start seeing some resumes like yourself, and you understand that this is a passion of yours, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, this is what I do when I get home at night. I read all the industry articles sitting on the couch.
Well, that is fantastic. Now, you just spoke at Digital Now conference in Orlando. How was that event?
It was fantastic. Such unique thinkers, getting into artificial intelligence, robotics.
Oh, very cool.
Really into insights and analytics. So very futuristic, I would say.
Did you see that article where the robots are teaching other robots how to do things now?
That is the beginning of Skynet.
I know, right?
Absolutely. Wow. So we caught your presentation, and we wanted to break down that presentation a little bit, if you don't mind.
I would love to.
Fantastic. So you started your presentation talking about creating a content loop. What is a content loop, and why should you create it?
Yeah. So I would say a content loop is the process by which you study whether or not your content is working for you.
Okay.
I would call it the scientific method of your content. So first and foremost, I would say it orbits around your North Star. So your North Star is your mission. And Aaron, we were chatting at the beginning of, before we went on air, and you said it's your Simon Sinek why statement. And I think that's the perfect encapsulation of it.
Absolutely.
So that's the perfect way to think of what your North Star should be. It's your Simon Sinek why statement. And if you haven't watched that TED Talk, I think it's all right if we give a shout out to that. Everyone should go watch that.
You do realize that you just stole that from me, right? I mean, I was about to use that as this is about, you just took it from me. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
I was just reading where you were going with that, and I'm on your wavelength now.
Fantastic.
So first and foremost, we always start with, we call it social listening, but listening to what your data, and I believe social media or digital data is a giant focus group.
Right.
I'm known for saying your audience always knows what your audience always wants. I don't believe at all your audience never knows what your audience wants.
Mm-hmm.
That idea that your audience, you're going to magically come up with a product that your audience didn't know existed has always felt foolish to me as someone who's spent a lifetime studying this.
Right.
The clues are left for you everywhere. You can go and you can find them. They're in your common thread. They're in all of your data. They're in things that didn't get liked. Why didn't this get liked? What got comments? Why did it get comments?
Right.
If you're launching into something new, like we want to talk about this, but we've never talked about it before, probably it's already been discussed in Reddit. Go see what people are saying about it in Reddit. There's a focus group already waiting for you there. Like you can always find stuff happening. To start there, have a hypothesis about it. So I'm going to put up this piece of content. This is what I think is going to happen. From that would be what you would create the content around. So right. I think for Teach for America, hypothetically, I think if we put out an ad with a picture of a teacher and a student, people are going to want to be in classrooms because they're going to think about themselves having an impact on that student, right? That's my hypothesis. You launch the content, you publish it, you amplify it. Often for us, amplify means you pay, you put some money behind it.
Right.
You get it back, you listen to your data again, you analyze your hypothesis, you think about a new hypothesis, which causes you to iterate it, you create more content, right? And then you're back to the beginning and you loop it around again. And because I put a hypothesis out there, I'll just tell you that actually is a failed hypothesis. We learned from our ads that ads of teachers and students actually don't work very well for us. And interestingly, if you're at the beginning of thinking about your Teach for America journey, you want to see a picture of just a teacher, that you're thinking about just yourself standing in that position.
Oh, wow.
And as you're getting closer to thinking about applying, you want to see the images of just students, that you're starting to think about your impact on kids. But actually seeing them together is not appealing to you.
Don't share all your cards there. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. It's
why you test,
It's the concept of the scientific methodology towards advertising, and we talk about it again and again and again. But it's tough. It's tough seeing marketers that don't embrace that side of the equation from being able to test something. You've got to start with measurements. You got to start with the concept of, okay, this is what I expect to see, right? And have enough metrics and have enough amplification, but be able to truly understand what you're going to be measuring, right? As opposed to just shotgunning things, rolling craps, and you have no idea why something actually took off. It was just the luck of the draw. We know marketers by and large that work in that space, and it's poor discipline. It's poor responsibility on the client's money.
It's poor discipline, and I also think if you have a hypothesis, you can say it out loud.
Yep.
You're going to have a result you understand. And it's just that simple. And you can have a result for $5, you understand. It's not actually a lot of money to get a scalable result you understand in the digital marketing space.
Oh, wow.
First test. Let me rephrase. Depending on what word you're bidding on. I think in some search engine marketing, you can be bidding on words that actually are far more expensive. So
absolutely.
Scale that back. But in the Facebook world.
Well, Facebook is still inexpensive, and
Facebook is inexpensive,
and the demographic targeting is fantastic. And I don't think we've ever had. Excluding AdWords. AdWords is a whole different beast, obviously.
Yeah, AdWords is a different beast.
But
your A/B testing is different there.
Yeah, but you can actually
the same process would apply.
And it absolutely does. But inside the Facebook audience, you have such level of demographic information. And it's so much that has to do with imagery and messaging through imagery that you can really be able to dial in your entire branding campaign around those test images that you're rolling out there.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like, I think when you dive into Facebook ads, I always start with the image, to your exact point, right? Like, it's all about the image. We know that that's what makes someone do the thumbs up.
Right.
And then when you land on the image, then you move on to copy and headlines and buttons, right? And then you start working on all the back end stuff, like what you're targeting,
right?
Like what's your behavior targeting? Do you want to sub-segment that? What's your genders? Do you want to sub-segment your age, right? Like, then you can get into really nuanced targeting and really nuanced findings.
Right.
And then you really scale it. It's really amazing how you can watch it boom from there.
Well, once you have the engine and the model,
right? Right?
All of a sudden,
once you start spinning it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the content loop that you're talking about, because we're talking about obviously the ads, the ad mechanism, and what Facebook has developed for us. But the content loop is very, very interesting to me because it's about listening to your audience. And this is something that is so imperative as you're doing marketing on any scale, right? Is to be able to have that engagement level with your audience, to be able to hear what they're actually enjoying and be able to guide your delivery of content. So one, you have the ad space, but two, just be able to have that engagement and have astute enough professionals in your organization to be able to listen and divine, or I should say, intone what they're really saying, and on top of that, even also having comments and engagement with your followers. That's very, very important stuff, and we see that just flopping on the cutting room floor whenever you see a lot of marketers that are trying to push content. You got to be able to listen and lurk as much as you want to. As much as you want to.
Absolutely. I think the lurking is huge. I think people skip that step endlessly.
Sure.
And there's so many places to lurk and go look at your competitors, lurk on your competitors, lurk on Reddit. I think the number of people who don't utilize Reddit for how much conversation happens freely on Reddit astounds me.
So, you're absolutely right. And there's a lot of small pockets, niche pockets of information that you have a lot of loyalists around. So it's not the big buckets. It's the little eddies and the little pools of loyal consumers and loyal social media platforms where you can really see some interesting. Instagram is it's not a small petri dish at all. It's large, but even inside there's so many pockets of great, valuable imagery research.
I love that you just brought that up. Right, like you start deep diving on hashtags on Instagram, and then you start going through the comments on those hashtags. you could be in a niche world so quickly with so much valuable insights. And what you would find there is like what language to use specifically to speak to specific audiences, to talk to people in their like, to do what we would call it's the platinum rule, right? So if the golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated, the platinum rule is treat others the way they want to be treated.
Oh, look,
right.
It's like all of a sudden ethics shows up at marketing. Well, thank you very much, Stacey.
That's what we need.
Stacey, that's fantastic. And that's what gets back down to the North Star, right? You know, I just want to double down on this, because if companies by and large don't have their North Star, and it's a great concept of just knowing what you're trying to listen for, knowing what you're trying to push forth, and staying true, right? Don't diverge and don't exploit, right? Don't go so far off reservation of your own content that it doesn't match your brand mission. But you have to define that mission to begin with. You have to define what truth is for your organization, what truth in content and truth in messaging is, right?
Absolutely. Otherwise, the entire internet would be filled with cat memes.
Hey, hold on a second.
There's some good memes out there.
Yeah, trust me, I got a 17-year-old boy that loves the cat memes. All sorts of memes. It's very, very odd. And you know, memes are good. Memes have their place. But I mean, the thing is, if there are, I want to say, immature companies getting into social media, and they haven't honed in on their message, they can be led astray by so many trendy concepts inside of marketing, right? Especially whenever they latch on to a competitor, they lurk on a competitor, and they don't really think about why they're doing what they're doing, right?
Right.
Your message is so disjointed, and you get one chance to really be able to have a solid impression to a consumer. They'll tune you out.
Well, yes, and once the consumers tune you out, the algorithms tune you out. So how are you coming back from that? Once you get tuned out by the algorithms, you're in real trouble, because that's a bigger wave to come back from.
You better believe it. So speaking of the algorithms, I do want to come back to one key point about knowing your audience, but I want to jump ahead into the algorithms, because you're in that space and you're paying attention to it greatly. Fake news. Okay.
Yeah.
And just to unpack that for a second, here is you've got such a challenge inside of fake news, inside of Google, inside of Facebook. What are your thoughts about the algorithm really taking hold, by and large, and cleaning out the visible articles for your benefit? What are you pro or con of the algorithm doing so much work on your behalf?
Okay, speaking as Stacey Jaffe, not speaking as Speech for America here.
Sure.
I really feel bad for both Facebook and Google on the fake news front, because I think fake news is a duly created problem. On the one hand, the algorithms created a world that was really ripe for fake news to happen, because the algorithms created a world where they made it possible for users to see nothing but content, for the majority of the content that users see to be content that users would love. And they did it so that users would spend more and more time on their apps. But all of us content producers saw what was happening, and we're like, oh, this is golden. I know how to take advantage of this, right? Like, it's what I just told you. It's like, your audience always knows what your audience always wants, right? Like, and if we're good content producers, we know how to serve that up and give it to them. But that is creating very niche content for very niche audiences that is very specific. So like Facebook and Google sort of doubled down on like very specific algorithms, and we swooped in and we're like, we're going to give you even more of that. So like we doubled down right on top of it.
Yep, absolutely.
So we helped them create that problem. And all of the bad press is about like this dirty deed that Facebook and Google has done, but really didn't do it by themselves. So I really fear that like Facebook and Google, in conjunction with media and like all media, right? Because journalists have started to write clickbaity headlines that align with this too. Like all of the big content producers have joined in, right? Like we have all figured out how to serve content that aligns to these algorithmic needs, we have created a world that, in a certain sense, is lacking nuance.
Yeah.
And then in this world that lacks nuance, we've created audiences that don't know how to read for nuance, or that don't expect nuance to appear in their daily feeds. So then I was watching a couple of Edge of the Webs last night, and one of your guests, Cassie from co-marketing, was talking about people don't even know when it's fake news because it looks like all of their other news that they're seeing. And it's such an interesting point, because how do you distinguish fake news from regular news unless you get to a very spammy site that is nothing but ads?
Right.
But even that, the point earlier this afternoon, looks a lot like Mashable's site.
Oh.
I was thinking, I was going to go.
So like, again, like, how do you know, right? So like, it puts a lot of weight on the consumer to be a good judge. So,
but it's self-fulfilling. That's the thing. It's self-fulfilling.
Right, it's self-fulfilling.
We've doubled down, just like you say, and
Right.
now we're conditioning ourselves to react to that clickbait. So we're feeding back into it.
Absolutely. So we've created this like double-headed dragon that now we're saying is this terrible problem. And now the whole world has been like, and hey, Facebook, you fix it, or hey, Google, you fix it. And like, in all honesty, my heart goes out to them. I feel terrible for them. And they're really standing up to it and trying to do their best. And they're right. They shouldn't be arbiters of the truth. That really isn't their job. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And we don't want them playing that role at all. And we don't want them writing algorithms that play that role, especially when you think about how algorithms read nuance, right? Because like what your real complaint is that we're in a world that lacks nuance. I don't think you want to trust artificial intelligence to read nuance either, if you really think deeply about how artificial intelligence might do that. So I think the real challenge for us as content creators is how do we bring nuance back? And I actually think that it's not a challenge for Google or Facebook. I think it's a challenge for the content folks. And I think that the real tipping point is about to come. I think when you're looking at the civic discourse on all sides, I think I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful. This is my own personal hopes, and maybe I'm projecting my own personal hopes into what is happening out in the world. But I'm hopeful for a return of nuance. And I'm hopeful that we can start to think about how to bring it back in, and how to bring it back in really interesting ways. And I'm starting to see it in small pockets. There's a journalist out of Cleveland, a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, Connie Schultz, who has actually started a Facebook feed where she puts up news and asks a question and then heavily moderates it, the comments. But she gets like 500 or so comments where there's a really interesting debate going back and forth from all sides. So you're starting to see it come out, and you're starting to see people wanting to weigh issues. So you're starting to see forums evolve. And my hope is that more and more of that happens, and that it actually starts leaning on the tech world and the content world to start developing products that require the re-entrance of nuance. But I think the users are going to have to start pushing for it so that the content people answer to it, because your audience always knows what your audience wants. So I think it's going to have to push from the audience.
I've got a question for you in this space, and this is something that I hadn't posited to Tom here yet. But what do you think about this? Is that, obviously we have all the social media share bars, right? All of the likes, posts, all the different toolbars that we have for each and every post that's out there, right? Okay. What about having almost like an open source World Wide Web fake news contribution from the user's standpoint, as opposed to entrusting an algorithm, right? Why not actually give user participation to clean up this crap? And just like you have a tweet, a LinkedIn post, you have one icon there. Is it fake or is it not? And allow the users collectively to contribute into the cleanup. Because if you're trusting AI, if you're trusting Skynet to algorithmically clean up this stuff, right? It ultimately is going to disenfranchise the user, because it got removed before they could even judge whether it was fake or not. But actually opening up an environment where people can state unequivocally, this is fake, right? It's almost, it's empowerment to the people. Yeah.
The biggest flaw in that argument is you're leaving it up to the public, and
right, as opposed to the big monster platforms that are.
you get in an argument and you make somebody mad, and that's all. It's all that matters.
Right.
It just takes that one click, and then it can easily be taken advantage of.
But aren't we better than that, Tom?
No, we're not. Unfortunately. Have you been on Facebook? No, but it was probably a month ago or so. We had how Facebook's targeting the fake news is with something similar, like what you mentioned, where people can submit that to Facebook, and then they have a series of like Snopes and ABC News and AP that are justifying or author or confirming whether this article is fact or not. So people can submit. It hasn't been rolled out yet, I don't think, because I haven't seen it.
Right.
They can submit that this is fake news.
Here's what's interesting. It has been rolled out.
Has it?
And I keep polling my team to ask people if they've seen it. One person has seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Right. So then my question is it because people in your network don't share fake news, so therefore it's not surfacing on your algorithm? Like, were you not seeing fake news to begin with?
Right.
Are you not the target audience for fake news? Right? Like,
True. Yeah.
What does it look like? Because there have been some industry articles written where they've shared screenshots where people have seen it. And shown what it looks like. But it looks like the sponsored word,
Right. Okay.
right, which is really small, and it says like this article is in question. So part of me wonders if, like, I feel terrible criticizing Facebook on this because I really don't think it's their problem to solve, but it's all.
You realize we're on Facebook Live right now.
Facebook, like, make it more obvious to people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's quite the right flag yet, but I'm sure they will figure that out over time.
No, you're absolutely right. And, I was just kind of testing out that theory. Thanks for shutting me down like that, Tom.
I mean, it's I could just see it with the healthcare debate that's going to happen soon with the Senate, and somebody says something that they don't like, and I don't like that what they said, fake news, And
there's a brush fire that tilts the entire scheme. I get it. Aren't we more mature than that?
No, we're not. Not on the internet. Trust me.
So the internet's just like high school.
I think it's much worse than that. Getting back
to go high.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Getting to one of your core concepts of your presentation, knowing thy audience by listening, lurking, stalking, studying until your brain explodes. Right. I love the concept that you reference two kinds of listening. Can you unpack those two kinds of listening for our audience?
Yeah. So I think the first kind of listening is sort of listening you would do as part of your branded study. So knowing your user personas, really knowing your brand, knowing who the person that would respond to your brand is, knowing what your brand target is. And if you were not working for a nonprofit, knowing who your buyers would be.
Sure.
And then I think the second part is social listening. At Teach for America, we use Radian 6, but using your social listening platform, understanding what people are saying about your posts, understanding who's talking about you, how they relate to you, what do you know about the people that are talking about you. It's worth looking those folks up. Understanding what people are talking about you, what the majority of the posts are about. Do they care to talk about certain aspects of your brand and not others? Like, what can you pick up? Really study it. And then I think a lot of it is, I'm back to Reddit again, I'm really big on this, but like, what are people who are talking about issues in your area talking about, and are you missing a conversation you should be in? So, and I think that's could be happening all the time. So if everybody in education right now is talking about issues going on with school lunches and you're not talking about school lunches, you could be missing a big opportunity to engage with stuff people want to be engaging on. So if you're not paying attention to the conversation at large and you're only paying attention to what's going on with the conversation your brand is having, you could be missing it. So you want to pay attention to the bigger conversation around you.
No, you're absolutely right. Speaking of education, and we have a really tight relationship with an Indiana-based association of school superintendents around the state. We've been talking to a lot of them this week. Something comes up regularly regarding engagement of teachers in social media and referendums that are going on. A question that I would ask you is the teacher's responsibility because your organization represents a lot of teachers, right? In a kind of a non-conventional sense, but I mean, you've got a lot of people in this organization. The relationship and the responsibility on social media front to the students that they teach, and the awareness of certain issues that those students may actually have inside of social media, and the responsibility those teachers have for raising alarm and raising concerns to their respective parents or the school systems. Does Teach for America have a pretty sizable social media policy or and a level of education of what to look for whenever the teachers are engaging inside of digital marketing? Or in social media, I should say, not digital marketing.
So that policy would be set by the school that this teacher works for, and not by Teach for America itself.
Good.
So our teachers would follow the policy of the school that they're working in.
Are you seeing a lot of ignorance in that space of where teachers just don't know where they are in relation to the students that also have social media handles and they're engaging? Are you seeing a bit of a disconnect, or are they starting to really find their place in that social fabric?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Oh, sorry. All right. Let me restate that. I just see a enormous front for teachers, because we deal with a lot of teachers that are not aware of kind of their role inside social media as it correlates to the students. And the students obviously can churn up some issues as they're broadcasting in Facebook and Twitter and what have you. Just like a teacher in the conventional world would be noticing a potential behavior of a student, right? With the digital acumen that teachers are now having, being able to have that same level of awareness inside of the social wake that student may have. Are you seeing that awareness happening, or do you still see that there's a lot of ground to cover, a lot of education to cover for teachers?
Oh, you know what? I have absolutely no idea. That is not my role. So,
no, of course. Okay.
Yeah, I work on the digital marketing team, so I sit in an office. I don't interface with our teachers enough to have a point of view on that.
Worries.
I'm the wrong person to ask.
Well, Stacey, I just chased a random squirrel in my head.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I
it's an interesting question, though.
I
totally understand why you would ask it.
See what I did there? Yeah, I completely went off reservation, didn't I?
Yeah.
You did.
That's not uncomfortable at all.
Let's just draw out this awkward moment.
Embrace it. Okay, well,
I think that's an interesting just question in society at large, right? Like, what do we see happening? What do we notice? What do we not notice?
Right.
How do we interpret behaviors?
And what's
going on in our peer group? Yeah, what's our responsibility to others? What's our moral code? I think that goes back to even some of the questions we were talking about, with like, where has nuance gone?
Yeah. Well, thanks for bailing me out there.
You're welcome.
Well, let me get back into the fold here and kind of wrap up the show here. What excites you about your industry right now?
Oh my God, so much. I am really excited about artificial intelligence. I think it's doing really remarkable things. I think it's going to take us to really cool places.
Yeah.
I'm especially excited about what's happening in the analytics space with artificial intelligence, and what it's surfacing, and frankly, perhaps all of the rabbit holes I will no longer go down in hopes of finding something cool.
Yeah.
But maybe artificial intelligence will surface later. I've been really excited by all the stuff I've been reading on Facebook Spaces and virtual reality.
Huh.
Are you guys following any of the Facebook Spaces stories?
I am not. No,
okay.
Unfortunately, we're not in that space. Pun intended.
Okay.
Unpack it for us.
Okay, so Facebook is through Oculus. Has Facebook Spaces where you create your own avatar, and people with Oculus can hang out together.
Right.
So I can hang out with you in Indianapolis in the same space, and like would feel like we were in the same room.
Huh.
But like hypothetically, if I have Oculus and you don't have Oculus, I could with Oculus on, I could be an avatar hanging out in a very cool room, and I could place a Facebook Messenger call to you that you could answer in your office. And I could be in the virtual reality world, and you could see me and my avatar in the virtual reality world, but you could just answer me in the everyday. So they've done a really cool thing where they've allowed people who have Oculus to interact with people who don't, which I think they've actually crossed a great hurdle in, oh my God, what's the word I'm looking for?
Kind of like a threshold moment here.
Threshold, right? Like not everybody actually has to have it to interact with it.
Right.
Because there's a major tipping point for like how long it would take for everyone to actually have Oculus.
Got it.
I think it's going to be a huge game changer. I actually see it being very cool for work. We all work virtually, so I think there's a really interesting idea that we could all feel like we were in the same room for meetings and like whiteboard things out, or I can hang out with family that's not actually in New York City. I think they're crossing some really interesting spaces in the virtual reality space, and it very much aligns to, as everything Facebook does, like we're connecting people. It's not really about gaming or some of the other virtual reality things you've seen. So really worth looking at some of the Facebook Spaces articles for sure.
Yeah, we got to check that out. And you realize what you just did there, Stacey?
No.
Oh, you have justified the expense of
Oculus, right?
coming into our office. Tom, we're going to have get a pair of Oculi.
So we can hang out with each other on the other side of the wall.
Exactly.
Maybe you can buy one and you can ship me one because I'm desperate for a pair.
Go.
And then we can like run a little test back and forth between New York and Indianapolis.
She's an entrepreneur.
Did
you catch that?
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to figure that one out, Stacey, because I mean we've got to experience the spaces, and obviously I mean you completely justified why we should be doing it, especially in the work.
Absolutely. Well, if you get it, call me from your from your spaces on Messenger. I want to see it for sure.
I think by and large I'm going to have to. I mean we're on Facebook Live, and we got to promote Facebook, right?
Yep.
Oh my God, how cool would it be if you guys did an Edge of the Web entirely from a virtual reality space?
Wow. Mind blown.
Oh, she just dropped the glove, man.
When you do that, I'm going to come back as a repeat guest for that
one. We're still building out in the studio, Aaron. We need a table.
We need a table. All right. Tell us something fun and exciting that you've done here recently.
Something fun and exciting I've done here recently.
Has to do with theater.
Oh, this was an old one. I saw Hamilton off Broadway before it went on Broadway. That was my cool fact for you guys to keep me up with. So
very cool.
Paid a reasonable price for those tickets. I was very excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I have one interesting fact here. I saw in your bio that you graduated from Miami University. Right?
Yes.
Are you a Buckeye? Did you grow up in
Ohio State.
I mean, did you grow up in Ohio?
I did grow up in Ohio. I am a Buckeye.
Whereabouts?
Oh, wait. Akron, Ohio.
Akron. Oh, okay. I grew up in Springfield.
Come on, LeBron James.
Sure.
Akron, Ohio.
Yep, absolutely. I grew up in Springfield, so I'm pretty close to Miami University.
You're pretty close.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
He's a hockey player, right?
LeBron.
Yeah.
But.
Totally.
But, Stacey, did you know that the 23rd President of the United States, Benjamin Harrison, graduated from Miami University? And, Stacey, his home is a half a block away from us.
Literally.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know he graduated from Miami University. You can't go to Miami.
Yeah, you can't know that.
But I didn't know his home.
His house is, I drive by it every day and just right around the corner, right across the alley.
Yep.
That is cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It's an awesome place. Well,
cool.
Stacey, you're doing some awesome things. You want to give a shout out to Teach for America? Anything really, really cool that they're doing here coming up soon?
Everything Teach for America does is incredible. I can see that
you don't sound brainwashed at all there. Lord of
oh my goodness. I mean, I will tell you that I got out of bed eagerly every single day to come to work, but since November 9th, I have been jumping out of bed and running to work.
That's awesome.
Not to put a personal spin on it, but that was my personal spin there. So it's a job with meaning. It matters. So I'm happy to have it. And check us out. Thank you for having me. It was really fun chatting industry with you guys.
Oh, fantastic.
And
well,
sign up for their newsletter.
Sign Sign up for for teachers that want to join Teach for America, go to teachforamerica.org. Check out what they're doing over there, and every once in a while you might see an ad come through for Teach for America, and you now know the culprit. She's stalking you right here, right?
So if you're really interested,
working.
go to their website,
Yep.
go off of it, go to Facebook, then click on the ad, and then sign up so they can get the credit. For the
Yeah,
conversion.
exactly. Give some props to Stacey
What
Entertainment.
Tom said.
Excellent. So on Twitter, you can track down Stacey at Stacey with an E, Jaffe, Jaffe, and that's also there on LinkedIn. Any final words for our Edge of the Web audience today?
Social media is a giant focus group. Pay attention.
There
That's
it
my
is.
thought there. Yeah,
Listen and lurk often, right?
There you go.
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Stacey. It was truly a pleasure talking with you, and who knows, we may explore the Oculus Rift there.
Oh my God, you should. I played with it. It's fun.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for everybody listening to the show. Check out teachforamerica.org, and share the show and lift up what's happening here on this show regularly. We're talking to some great people that are really cranking the dial up for digital marketing across the world. So thanks for listening to Edge of the Web Radio and our special guest. Be sure to check out all the must-see videos at edgeofthewebradio.com. All the audio is there and much more. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. We'll talk to you next week. Do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. Bye-bye.